we're just waiting a few moments here for our audience to build. I'm rolling down the highway on my way to a club meeting. Thought I would take a few moments to holler at you. Waiting for a few moments for our audience to build. Hello, my YouTube audience over there. And we've got the Facebook audience here. Let's see if we can get our numbers up. Interesting topic tonight that's going to deal with prospect training and what we're going to do, or what your MC should be doing to train prospects. Just trying to get our audience numbers up a little bit here. So it's going to be a pretty interesting evening. We're talking about prospect training, and this time from the perspective of the motorcycle club. And I'm going to do that by telling a story about a prospect we had. And the story is about the prospect, his God, and the mighty Black Sabbath Motorcycle Club Nation. And we're going to tell that story as a parable to show you a little bit about your motorcycle club training and how it should relate to training your prospects. So, my name is Black Dragon. I'm the National President of the Black Sabbath Motorcycle Club Nation and publisher of the book, Motorcycle Club Public Relations Officer's Bible, which is located at mcprosbible.com. How to guard the reputation of your motorcycle club, as well as the Prospects Bible at prospectsbible.com. How to prospect for a traditional motorcycle club, and of course, Prospects Bible for women. How to prospect for women's motorcycle clubs at prospectsbibleforwomen.com and prospectsbible.com, respectively. And of course, you can get my books on Kindle and Amazon. You can even go into a bookstore and order them. It takes about 2 weeks for them to come to you. So, blessed Sunday to you, Kadena. So, from Exclusive Gems, it's nice to see you. So, one of the things we want to talk about is, why is it that in a motorcycle club you have 3 guys that come in as prospect under 3 different sponsors? And one guy knows everything there is to know about the motorcycle club. Another guy knows some things that there are to know about a motorcycle club. And another guy doesn't know his head from a hole in the ground. And they're all prospected at the same time, and they all came into the same motorcycle club, and the difference is they had different sponsors. Or maybe they all three had the same sponsor, and one guy knows more and the other guys don't know anything. So why is that? And is it the prospect's fault if he comes out of his prospectship not knowing anything? Is that his fault, or is that the fault of the club? So one of the things that a club should be thinking about is, what on earth do I want my prospects to know when the prospect shift is over and they are normal members? And so a lot of that comes down to your prospect period and how you teach these people, what you show them, and how they learn. So if you teach them dumb stuff, then they're going to be dumb members. And it's real simple. Some of this stuff you can't make up. For instance, I was in a motorcycle club, and I was checking things out, and I see this prospect standing next to his full-patch brother. And he's standing up, holding a sign above his head, straight up in the air. And, I mean, he's standing there for over an hour, just holding this sign up. And isn't the sponsor and the club supposed to teach? Yes, they are. The sponsor and the club are both supposed to teach. So he's holding this sign up, and his arms are getting sore. And between holding the sign up, he has to go and get some beers for the fat ass sitting on his tush. And then he comes back and holds that sign above his head. And this goes on for an hour or more. And it dawns on me as I'm sitting there, and I wrote about this guy in the Prospects Bible. And it dawns on me as I'm sitting there, what was the value of that lesson? What could that prospect take with him from that lesson? That lesson of standing there holding up the sign of the motorcycle club in another motorcycle clubhouse, that other motorcycle club wasn't even a part of this public spectacle. And it would have been a different thing, in my opinion, if this guy had taken that prospect to the state line, or had him ride for 24 hours till he dropped. Then that to me would be a valid lesson. But what was the lesson of standing there holding that sign in the air? A lot of the new motorcycle clubs take prospecting and treat it like pledging or going online or some sort of fraternity thing. And motorcycle clubs are far more serious than childhood frats. Motorcycle clubs are a lifestyle. You know, I know a lot of people that are involved in their frats after college, but most people are not that involved in their frats after college. They go to a yearly dance or football game, and they go do the dance, and they do the handshakes, but they don't interact with their brothers every day for the rest of their lives like motorcycle clubs do. And the reason I know that is because those guys are in my motorcycle club, and they couldn't be interacting with their frat and their Mason group and their church and give the Black Sabbath all the time they've given us. Something's got to give. So the time that they're given is our time. We're getting that time. So you kind of hang with that frat until college is over, and then everybody kind of goes their own separate ways and does their life. Whereas the MC, you're in that town and you're in that city and you're with those people forever. So when you're prospecting people as a sponsor and you want to teach them MC style life lessons, you might consider what lesson it is that you're trying to teach before you ask somebody to do some asinine, stupid things. So, for instance, I used to take all of the Atlanta chapter, and Atlanta chapter, for those of you who don't know, was my baby. I started the Atlanta chapter. That's the one chapter that I launched and I was president of before I became national president. So that chapter is near and dear to my heart. And after launching that chapter, and then after becoming national president, I still didn't want to let go, kind of like Captain Kirk doesn't want to let go of the ship. So I, for many, many years, continued to train prospects on my own. And it's something that I very much enjoyed. And one of the things I would always do is I would take the prospects out and teach them. I like to teach them how to ride 2x2 in tandem. So I would take them out on the motorcycle, out on the, not on the motorcycle set, but rather out into the mountains, the North Georgia mountains. And I would take them through the mountains, 20 miles an hour, side by side. And if you go through 20, 50, 60 miles, even 100 miles side by side with somebody through the mountains at 20, 30 miles an hour, when after that experience is over, you now know how to ride in the pack. So you know how to ride side by side with somebody. You're not afraid anymore. So one of the greatest things I would do is take them to the mountains. And a lot of times I'd get up in the mountains and I would have several. I've never seen that motorcycle club before. I wonder who they are. But anyway, I'd go up into the mountains with them, and sometimes I would take their race bikes from them, and their little sport bikes, and they were just always so amazed that I knew how to ride one of those, and would storm through the mountains and slap them on the back, and they couldn't keep up with me or catch me, stuff like that. I've been doing this a while, so I would like to do that to kind of show off and let the guys know, hey, you know, I can still ride, and what I'm teaching you is real. They believe it if they see you do it. So there was this one particular time when I took a prospect across the country for his 1,000-mile run. And the Black Sabbath gives you a big award for a 1,000-mile run. It's called the Nomad Rider, and you get a bull's horn. It's really kind of cool. The 1,000-mile run is a milestone in a Black Sabbath career. And you have to ride 1,000 miles one way. It can't be 500 and then 500 back. It's 1,000 miles one way. So as we were riding, hello, Alice. Good to see you. It's good to see you. So, as we're riding across the country, he started to develop some problems with his motorcycle. And the problems were kind of profound. His motorcycle wasn't hitting right. There was something wrong with the carburetors. He had that stupid, you know how you guys love to have that power commander in there. So he had this going, and all this trouble he was having with his bike. So he didn't have a lot of money to get his bike fixed. So we're running. He's got no money, and he gets scared. He starts praying. Oh my God, dear God, please help me get there and back. I don't have no money. So we're riding and everything, and as we start getting closer and closer to Oklahoma, we're on our way to Wichita, Kansas. As we start getting closer and closer to Oklahoma, I mean, his bike just really starts messing up. And I mean, this guy at every gas station is on his knees. Oh my God, dear Lord, please help me and everything. And I'm just looking at the guy like, okay, you ready to go now? So it got to the point his bike would only do like 40 miles an hour. It was sputtering. And so we pull into a rest stop, and sure enough, the bike is just like on its last leg, just sputtering. And I pull into the rest stop, and I get off my bike. I sit on the picnic table. I'm just watching him, and he's on his knees praying again. So I tell him, hey, whatever you do, don't turn that bike. And he turned the bike off. So now, of course, the bike won't start. And I looking at him, I'm smiling and everything, and he's like, the bike won't stop. So he runs up and down the thing, push starting it about 100 times, and it wouldn't push start. And it's getting dark now, and it's a little cold out, so I'm sleepy. I'm ready to go to sleep. So I pull out my pack, my roll pack, and I start to lay it out on the table. And he's looking at his bike, and I said, "Hey, Prospect, where's your flashlight?" Well, he didn't have a flashlight, but he had shower slippers, and he had a shaving kit, and he had, oh my God, robe. He had a smoking jacket, all this kind of stuff, but no flashlight for his bike. And he said, "Well, I don't have a flashlight. Can I use yours?" I said, "Oh, no, you can't use my flashlight. You went on a trip without a flashlight? Well, you're gonna have to feel that stuff, so that you should be able to feel it in the dark and know what you're doing." And he says, "You're not gonna let me borrow your flashlight?" I said, "No, that's my flashlight. I packed my flashlight in case I had any problems on the road. You should have packed your flashlight in case you had some problems on the road." So he said, "Well, what am I going to do? It won't start." I said, "Well, you've ruined the battery. The battery, we've got to get a jump. So we'll try to get a jump in the morning." And he's just pacing back and forth and praying, and he looks at me and he screamed, "You just don't give a damn." And I turned on over, and next thing I know, some guy just comes out of the blue. And this guy had like all these jumper cables on his truck. And the guy says, "Well, look here, I'll give you a jump." So he gives him a jump, and that bike starts up again. It's just a sputtering. And the Prospect was all excited and everything. And I said, "Whatever you do, don't turn that." And he turned the bike off again. So I smiled and I said, "Well, you need to go ask that guy if he'll give you another jump start." So the guy gave him another jump start, and I said, "No, whatever you do, don't turn that damn bike off." So now the bike is sputtering and all this stuff. It won't do anything. And out of the blue walks this Mexican guy, walks up. And the Mexican guy was a truck driver or something. And the Mexican guy is listening to the motorcycle sputter. And the Mexican guy, some kind of way, they turned that damn bike off again. So the Mexican guy is helping him push start the bike, and I'm just sitting there watching. And all of a sudden, they get the bike push started and started again. And the Mexican guy says, "I'll be right back." He leaves, and he comes back with a can of spray. I don't even know what the hell was in the spray. It looked like hairspray to me. So the Mexican guy sprays the spray into the carburetors, and next thing you know, presto, the bike just starts right up. And I was like, wow, the bike started up. Isn't that novel? And next thing you know, the Prospect is jumping up and down. He's all excited. Whatever that spray was, it fixed the whole problem. So maybe it was a can of ether. I don't know what the hell it was, but that spray fixed everything. So the Prospect says, "Well, what do we do now?" I said, "Well, it's late. We're going to go to sleep." So I wake up, and it's freezing cold outside because it's in the plains. It's hot in the daytime, cold at night. So it's freezing cold outside, and I look over, and the Prospect is laying in the grass, asleep, freezing, just laying in the grass. And I said, "Prospect, where's your roll? Where's your blanket and stuff?" I didn't bring a blanket. I didn't bring a roll. Wow. But you got shower slippers and shower shoes. And he says, "Well, can I borrow? You got 2 blankets. Can I borrow one of yours?" "No, can't borrow one of my blankets, Prospect. You didn't bring a blanket. Every man must be responsible for his own self out here." So he said, "Well, what do I do? I'm freezing cold." I said, "Well, I told you not to turn off your motorcycle, and I see it's still on. What you do is you go crawl underneath that damn motorcycle, and you go to sleep. And the heat from that motorcycle is going to keep you warm all night long." And he said, "How do you know that?" I said, "Oh, just go on over there and crawl under it and see. I said, the neat thing about it is no animals are going to mess with you because they ain't going to be trying to mess with that engine. So I got up, crawled underneath my motorcycle that I had started. It was running, and I drifted on off to sleep. So the next morning, the prospect is angry at me. He says, Dragon, National, I want to tell you something, man to man. And I said, oh, what do you want to tell me, bro? I'm ready to hear it. And he said, you didn't give a damn about me yesterday. You wouldn't let me borrow your flashlight. You wouldn't let me put my extra gear on your motorcycle. I said, you mean that big-ass coat you brought and all that stuff that you wanted to put on my bike because you figured that I had a gold wing and I had room for it, but you never asked me, you just showed up with it? So you wanted me to put that on my bike, and I made you tie it on your bike, and you look like a raggedy pin driving down the road? Yeah. And he said, yeah, that. And you watched me flounder around, and you didn't care, and you had a bad attitude. You just never cared for me. And why didn't you care for me? Because you knew I was on my last leg. And I smiled at the prospect, and I said, you know, prospect, you Christian folks really crack me up sometimes. Here you are on your knees, prayer after prayer after prayer, begging God to take care of you. And every time you stopped, you got on your knees and prayed again. And I just thought it was interesting because I had read somewhere in the Bible that if you have a problem, you ask God, I'm paraphrasing, but if you have a problem, you ask God to fix that problem. And once you've said that prayer, you already know that He's going to do it. So now you get up and you carry on as if it has already been done. And that is the power of faith. So I didn't understand all the other prayers after the first prayer in the first place. So I was like, oh, he doesn't believe in this, so why should I believe in it? The next thing is, you really kind of cracked me up because I never left your side, son. I never left your side. I was here the whole time. Let me tell you something. We are in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Or where were we? We were in right before you get to right past the Oklahoma line at Sallisaw. We're in Sallisaw, Oklahoma, my friend. 2 hours or 3 hours to the east of us is Little Rock, Arkansas, where we have a chapter. And you go just a couple of hours north of us is Tulsa, where we have a chapter. You go to the south a little bit, we have Black Sabbath down there in Dallas. You go over to Wichita just a little bit, we have Black Sabbath in Wichita. In fact, we have Black Sabbath all around us, no further than 6 hours in any direction. And you're crying and scared that we got a problem. We ain't got no problem. We got brothers all across the Midwest that all we got to do is pick up the damn phone and say, our motorcycle's broke. What we have here, son, is an inconvenience. Tell you what you do. You get on your motorcycle by yourself, like I have, and you ride to New Mexico, broke, and let your motorcycle break down there, thousands of miles away from home. The nearest Gold Wing dealer is 500 miles away. You break down out there on your way to Las Vegas or something, all by yourself with no brothers, and the nearest clubhouse is 20 hours away. And guess what? When you say that prayer one time and you believe in it, you're amazed at what God sends you. In my case, He sent me a tow truck driver who figured out a way for me to be able to tow my truck, my motorcycle, for free. He said, how did he do that? He said, well, he told me that if I belong to my insurance company, and I happen to belong to the insurance company that he was talking about, he was familiar with, he said, you got Geico? Don't worry. Geico will tow your motorcycle all the way over to where it's broken at, to the nearest place, which was 500 miles away. I said, no, they'll only tow it 60, 70 miles. He goes, oh no, if this is the first incident, they will tow it all the way. Well, how do you know that? Well, I know all about Geico motorcycle. So I called Geico and they said, yeah, we're going to tow it for you this one time. And then this guy took my motorcycle to a place where they fixed my motorcycle for $50. Got my motorcycle running. One, I'm very familiar with my model of motorcycle, so Clay's an engineer, and he sent all the diagrams and schematics to them that they needed. They got my motorcycle up and running. And then two brothers from the Road Rangers Motorcycle Club up there in Ohio, and their wife that was following behind them in the car coming back from the roundup that year, those two brothers saw me out on the road in trouble, and they picked up the national president of the Black Sabbath, and they rode with me all the way to my girlfriend's doorstep in Oklahoma City. At no time was I in any jeopardy, though I had no money and my bike had broken down. And that, my good prospect, is the power of prayer, as God will not let you down, and you cannot fail when He is on your side. As far as this biker stuff, buddy, this is easy. You got it easy because you're in the middle of the country with nothing but Black Sabbath everywhere you are. So I ask you, what are you teaching your prospects? Are you putting them on the road and giving them good stuff? Or are you just teaching them shenanigans? I'd be curious to know. Well, I'm here at the meeting, so I guess I better go. Design your prospect teaching systems to teach prospects to be bikers and ride across this country and be successful. They don't need to stand up and